Man films moments after killing his fucking baby. That is a crazy ass fucking title. I don't. It's already making me upset. Even. Oh my god, yo, I don't get people. What folks said in that Tommy G video. A lot of people brains are like chemically imbalanced people. Rest in peace to this child, man. All right, y'all ready for this depressing ass shit? I know I'm not. Come on.
Surrey County Emergency 911.
Yes, my son is somewhere in Nevada. He's not really coherent.
I knew it was gonna happen sooner or later.
Surrey County 911.
Hey, ugly ass nigga. Oh my god.
Baby's not breathing. I just came home from work.
All right. How old is your baby?
Please, my baby. Oh my god.
Why are you laying in this bed?
On January 29, 2018, police in Nevada, Iowa respond to a call from authorities at Union Pacific Railroad, reporting that a black male is standing on the slope of rocks beside the train tracks. Officers head out to the location to conduct a search. However, after finding no one there, they return to the station. Roughly 30 minutes after the first call, a Union Pacific employee calls the sheriff's office once more with startling news.
Hey, this is Travis at Union Pacific Railroad. I requested an ambulance. I've got a trespasser who was just struck by a train.
And so, this just happened?
Yeah, moments ago, reported by a coal train.
Okay, all right, I'll go ahead and dispatch it on medical.
Damn, he got hit by a train. Damn.
This is 206.
Should've killed his
Police
ass.
officers arrive on scene shortly after the call, ready to administer medical aid if they find the victim before the paramedics.
We'll be on the south side of the tracks.
Should have been killed his ass. Man, how the fuck that train could have killed his ass?
All right, start looking for a body. Is radio up?
12 Surrey County.
Go ahead.
Just confirming for medical. You have the person on the south side, is that correct?
No, we are locating him right now.
Copy that.
I mean, is he on the north side maybe? I don't see him.
I've been looking, I don't see anything.
But a message soon comes over the radio to explain why they're not having much success.
Evidently, correction, UP had advised he is on the north side, or the patient's on the north side.
10-4. So we need to be on that side of the tracks. Cross right now, we need to find him.
Despite the setback, first responders eventually find the victim beside the tracks. He's hurt, but alive and conscious. Soon, another 911 call comes in providing more details about the victim to the police.
Surrey County Emergency 911.
Yes, my son has been hit by a train somewhere in Nevada. He's calling me now on Facebook saying he's been hit by a train.
All right, unless there's a second person hit, he's already been located and has somebody with him. Do you have him on the line still?
I have him on the line, but I don't know if he has anybody with him. He's not really coherent. He's just saying he's been hit by a train.
Is he able to tell you exactly where he's at? They're out in the area and they've been looking for him.
Can y'all tell us where he's at? Cause somebody.
Going to a hospital.
Where is he at?
It sounds like there is somebody with him.
Okay, so did you call an ambulance and everything already?
They're already out there with him.
Okay.
Sorry, fuck your son, man.
Can you give me the location? I got 911 on the phone.
Tanya?
Fuck that train could have killed his ass.
Tanya?
Yes.
I know you're upset, but we have all the personnel out, and I believe the ambulance is... Tanya,
on the phone with him.
The ambulance should already be out there with him.
I'm not sit here and talk to you.
Sir, you're being mean. That's my son.
Tanya, talk to me.
My son, sir.
Tanya, talk to me.
Okay, this sir is being so mean, talking about this is not his son.
Okay, just let they need to take care of your son right now. So relax. Just relax. They're going to take care of your son.
There.
Yeah, they are. You've got Union Pacific. See?
Okay, he said a paramedic is on site. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Okay, so there is an ambulance out with your son, and they'll be taking care of him.
As EMTs attend to the victim, police officers speak to the conductor. The conductor shows officers the area where he located the man after he was struck by the train. Here they find some splashes of bright red on the tall grass. They also find a lighter and a tube from an ink pen filled with what appears to be a white substance. The incident is made only more tragic when the victim reveals to EMTs that he has 2 kids at home. Back with the victim, as the EMTs load him into the ambulance, they ask him if he hurt his children. But to this simple, straightforward question, the victim provides no answer. Just as emergency responders are getting their heads around this shocking incident, another harrowing 911 call comes in to throw the day into more unimaginable chaos.
911?
I need an ambulance now.
Where at? What's going on there?
My baby's not breathing. I just came home from work.
All right. And how old is your baby?
It's 2 months. Wait.
Okay, how long has your baby not been breathing?
I don't know. I just got home. My husband was supposed to be watching her.
Okay, all right. So is the baby in the crib?
He was in my bedroom. Please hurry. She's not breathing.
All right. Take a deep breath for me, okay? Take a deep breath.
Please hurry.
Okay, my partner's dispatching everybody. I will let you know when they're on their way, okay? They're in the area right now.
The dispatcher's assurance is not an exaggeration. Several of the paramedics who responded to the train accident are rerouted to the apartment, which is only a few streets away. While this incident seems completely unrelated, it won't be long before an incredibly suspicious connection comes to light.
Can you put the baby on a hard surface so we can start CPR?
Yes.
Okay.
God, please,
Okay,
God, please save my baby.
All right.
Please, God, save my baby.
Ma'am, I need you to listen to me so we can help your baby, okay? Lay the baby flat on the back, okay?
Okay.
Okay, is this a baby boy or baby girl?
No.
Okay. All right, take a deep breath for me, okay?
I don't know how.
Okay, I'm going to help you out, okay? I want you to take your 2 of your fingers, your index finger and your middle finger, and put those on the middle of the chest, right between the nipples, okay? And you're going to push down about 1.5 inches. And you're going to do this. You're going to try to pump about 100 times, okay?
Please, God.
Okay.
Please,
Let me know when you started, okay? Let me know when CPR has been started. So let's count together, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And keep going.
She's turning blue.
She's turning blue. Okay, keep pumping for me, okay?
The dispatcher guides the woman through mouth-to-mouth resuscitation as well as compressions, but the mother's heartbroken, terrified voice is enough to paint the picture of how those efforts are going.
Please, God, please, God, please, save my baby, please. I need help from work. I have to go home. Oh, my God.
Paramedics arrive at the apartment during the call, and one of them would later describe the frantic scene she walked into.
There was a adult female that met me at the apartment steps. She took me to the apartment, walked into the living room, and saw Mom doing CPR on a couch.
The medics performed 2 rounds of CPR and used more advanced equipment to try and revive the infant. Meanwhile, the 911 dispatcher attempts to calm the mother.
Hello, what is your first name?
My name is Melissa.
Melissa? Okay, and you got first responders there, right?
I don't even know where my husband is. I need him.
The paramedics are unable to revive the baby on scene, so they get the infant in the ambulance for transport to a local hospital. It's a chaotic afternoon for Story County responders, but they have yet to learn the chilling connection between their 2 victims.
Well, just visual observation, you could see that the baby was dusky, cyanotic, kind of blue around the mouth.
These heartbreaking details weigh on medical responders as efforts to save the baby progress. But police are about to find that these 2 victims, the unresponsive infant and the man hit by the train, are not unrelated after all. As investigators share notes on both cases, in a horrifying turn of events, they realize that the train victim is Calvin Curtis White, and in an inconceivable link, he's actually the father of the dying baby. It was his wife, Melissa White, who made the 911 call, and as the ambulance rushes the baby to the hospital, police descend on the neighborhood to look for witnesses that might shed some light on these disturbing events.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Hey, have you been home most of the day, or no, or?
I've been working till 4:30, but my husband was home all day.
Okay. Did you or him see anybody suspicious in the area, or see anybody walking down the street by chance?
Did you see anybody else?
You guys, did you see anybody walking down the street today at all? Pretty much in between the timeline of like maybe anytime later in the afternoon. No. About. Well, do you know many of the neighbors over there? I'm sure you see the normal ones that come and go all the time.
Right.
Probably a black male, about 5'5", maybe. You see him come and go at all today?
No, we haven't.
Despite little help from the surrounding neighborhood, the police do get some information from two women, Sarah and Christy, who live in the same apartment building as Calvin White.
That train really should have killed his ass. They got lucky as hell.
His family. Sarah recalls hearing the baby crying all morning, with the cries growing weaker throughout the day until they finally stopped. Christy tells police that Calvin once told her that sometimes they simply let the baby cry it out until it stops crying. Suspecting the worst, police get a search warrant for the Whites' apartment.
The living room when you first come in. Around the corner to the south side, you've got the kitchen. Straight back, you've got the parents' bedroom. You got the kids' bedroom. This is where one of the baby cribs is.
This is now officially a full-scale criminal inquiry, and when Calvin and Melissa White's baby is pronounced dead in the hospital at 3:43 p.m. that afternoon, it becomes a death investigation. What began as two seemingly unrelated tragedies has converged into a single horrifying case. To get to the bottom of what happened this afternoon in Nevada, police go out to Iowa Methodist Hospital to have a chat with Calvin White.
So, why don't we kind of start with why are you laying in this bed? What happened?
You
don't remember? You woke up in the grass? Calvin, do you remember why you were going or where you were walking to? What's your last thing? Do you remember walking to the train? Kind of. You take your time, okay? You remember walking to the train, though?
Calvin's injuries won't make it easy to get answers, but the detective pushes forward, knowing all too well the importance of getting his story as quickly as possible.
I'll pull that nigga lucky down with me. I would have pulled the plug on his ass.
First bring Calvin's wife Melissa for questioning as well. She says the day started like any other. She headed off to work at 5:30 a.m., at which time both her 18-month-old son and her 2-month-old daughter were fine. She texted Calvin at 2 o'clock that afternoon to see if he wanted her to get anything on the way home. Calvin texted back, asking that she stop and get supplies to bring home for dinner.
What did you ask her to pick you up from the store? You wanted chicken and beer today? Okay.
In her own interview with police, Melissa says that she texted Calvin to see what kind of beer he wanted, but he didn't text back. When she called him, he was short with her. She tells the detectives that she heard a crackle in his voice, but he said he was fine. At 2:30 that afternoon, she finally received one last message from Calvin apologizing for hanging up on her.
Where do you work, Calvin? Do you have a job? Do you stay home?
Yeah.
Do you stay home? Okay. Do you watch your kids? Are you home alone? What's that? You work for kids? How many kids do you have, Calvin? Do you have 2 kids?
After confirming with Calvin that he's the primary in-home caregiver, the detective emphasizes how much pressure this has to put on the 30-year-old father.
You guys got to be tired. No sleep. How is with waking up in the middle of the night? She's gotten better. Who would normally get up with her?
I do.
You get up with her?
I get up with her.
So she works quite a bit. So essentially you do a lot of the parenting roles by yourself.
Yes.
After your wife leaves for work and you get up with the kids and do home all day with both kids under a year old. That's pretty impressive.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot, yeah.
Calvin's workload as a parent has been under additional strain for the last month or two because both kids have been struggling with illnesses.
What were they doing? What did this sickness consist of? Were they vomiting, puking?
Oh,
What's that?
cough.
Just a cough? Coughing and wheezing.
They hear this as well from Calvin's wife Melissa, who says that her daughter has been fighting a cold since the beginning of the month, right after her older son suffered from a nasty round of bronchitis. But if these sound like the typical struggles of a family raising 2 young babies, it won't be long before chilling information comes out that sheds new light on the reason behind these illnesses. The detective at the hospital soon discovers that there's another element at play in the White household: addiction.
Do you have any history of drug usage?
Yeah.
You do? What is your history? Meth? If I went to your house right now, would I find any meth at your house?
No.
When's the last time you've done meth?
Yeah.
You did meth yesterday or today?
Yeah.
And how do you normally do it? Oral? Spoil?
Melissa confirms that this usage has been an ongoing source of strain in the marriage. She says that she confronted Calvin about his addiction more than a year ago, at which time he agreed to go into a treatment facility. In an exclusive interview with EWU, Calvin said this ultimatum came at a low point in their marriage.
It was a 9-month program that I was supposed to do. But the center that I went to, it turned out to not actually be like a rehab place. It was more like this military place that was for people that they were waiting to go to trial, and as they completed this program that they would get a lesser sentence. It wasn't for, it wasn't like no 12-step program or some type of stuff like that for rehab people. So I ended up not wanting to stay there, and I left after a week.
Though Calvin, Though Calvin didn't complete his rehab, he claims that he remained clean for a year. In her conversation with police, however, Melissa says that she'd already realized that afternoon that her husband must be off the wagon. The telltale sign was the tinfoil being out on the counter with a piece torn up and folded up, a sure indication that he'd been using that day. Calvin says that his illicit substance usage doesn't affect his household responsibilities, an answer that gets police no closer to understanding what led to Calvin's train incident, nor to the tragedy that ended his daughter's life.
Once you do a hit of meth, you do what? Clean the house and take care of the kids?
Back with Melissa, police ask if there's anyone Calvin may have been in contact with over the last 48 hours that might have supplied him with illegal substances. She readily gives them a list of names, the last of which is Calvin's ex-girlfriend, Melissa B. Melissa B's name also comes up in the interview with Calvin, who shares some disturbing facts about the events surrounding their breakup.
So what happened with your ex then?
She got pregnant. It was mine. I really want to put the map. It was that.
So how did you handle that? How long ago was that? Like 7 years ago. How did you handle that situation? What did you do? You what?
Dropped out of college.
You dropped out of college?
In a shocking twist, police discover that a friend named Brett took Melissa B. to Calvin's apartment the same day these tragedies occurred. Brett tells the police they first drove past the parking lot just to make sure that Calvin's wife Melissa's car wasn't there.
You're saying, to the best of your knowledge, Melissa didn't enter the apartment that day?
Not that, but they were still in the same spot. Yeah.
And you said you heard Joshua give his wife's work schedule.
Yeah.
And the other.
So it was just common conversations. Obviously, she hadn't been there for a while, so they were talking about what had been going on.
The police also spoke to Melissa B. about that day. She says Calvin was trying to figure out the time schedule for the train hours before tragedy struck.
That was the first day my wife went back to work from maternity leave. And, I got up in the morning with both our kids like I did every single day, changed diapers, fed them and everything, And my daughter was only 2 months at the time. So, you know, I had her swaddled up in her little swing that we had. And, you know, I was sitting on the floor that morning playing with my son. We were playing with our Legos together, and I hear a knock on the door, and I automatically knew who it was because there's only one person that comes over at that time in the morning when my wife is gone. I knew it was my ex. That's when the first bad decision came in, is that I opened the door for her. And she was there, and a couple of other people came with her.
Calvin says that his visitors came bearing gifts.
My ex-girlfriend pulls out, you know, a bag of drugs, a bag of meth, and she's like, "Do you want to smoke?" And that was my second bad decision.
This story differs considerably from what the police are hearing during the active investigation. The case turns over its head when investigators come across some unsettling rumors circulating within the community.
Melissa has told people that she saw the children that day and they were fine. Do you know why she would say that?
I'm fairly certain that she had seen the little boy because he tried to open the door to let us in, and she's like, "No, just sit." And that's when I went back up to the top step and they stood there at the doorway and talked. It was obvious that this wasn't, you know, the first or second or third meeting with the wife being gone.
As investigators gather more information from Brett and Melissa B., the reporting officer claims that as Calvin's family visited him in the hospital on the night of his train collision, they allegedly asked the hospital worker to hand over Calvin's cell phone to erase data that police don't need to see. When police hear this, they place the phone in a security department safe at the hospital to make sure that no one has access to the device. The contents discovered in Calvin's phone will have stunning ramifications in the days to come. Later that night, a patient care technician tells police that several members of White's family said, quote, "It was an accident. He didn't mean to." However, all of the evidence so far suggests a more
he didn't mean to kill his fucking baby. This fucking junkie. Fuck all y'all niggas. Like say, Lucky, I would pull the plug on his ass.
Intention at play.
Ain't no fucking train. That train
One way or
killed
the
him
other,
too.
police are determined to resolve this mystery.
When you left the apartment today, where were the kids at?
They were at home, sort of.
What's that?
They were still at home.
They were still at home?
Yeah.
Was anybody ever, did anyone come to your apartment at all today? No, it was just you?
Yeah.
Did you leave the kids alone at any point prior to leaving your apartment today, this afternoon?
No.
No? You didn't have any friends over, it was just you in your apartment?
No.
If the detective is skeptical about this part of Calvin's story, she lets it slide. However, there is at least one aspect of the afternoon that doesn't seem to make sense.
So you were in your apartment all day, alone with the kids. You text your wife for some chicken and beer. Why would you text your wife for chicken and beer and then leave your apartment? No, Calvin, don't give me the I don't know, because I know you do. You're remembering a lot more.
Indeed, Calvin would remember much more about that afternoon. In his exclusive 2024 interview with Iwu, he said that when his ex and some friends showed up at the door, he put the kids away so they wouldn't be witnesses to his relapse.
I grabbed my daughter and put her down in her crib in the back bedroom also. They shared rooms. The crib and his bed was in the same room. And when I laid her down in her crib, she has a pillow in her crib. And I laid her on top of it. I unswaddled her, and I laid her on top of it because I didn't want her to get hot. So I busted a swaddle off of her. So then I was at the door, the bedroom door, and I went back into the living room where my friends were, and we sat there and smoked for maybe an hour, hour and a half or so. And then they were like, we gotta go, and they got up and left.
Calvin will soon reveal what happened next, but in her own interview with police, his wife Melissa explains what happened when she got home that day at around 2:45 p.m. and found the front door unlocked. When she went inside, she found her son screaming and her husband missing. She also noticed that her daughter was not in her usual baby swing in the living room. As she went into the back bedroom looking for the infant, she found something straight out of a living nightmare. Her 2-month-old daughter was lying on the bed, wearing only a diaper, her lips blue and her eyes half closed. That was when she called 911.
Were you depressed over something? The only thing you're depressed about is your drug use?
It seems that the detective suspects she isn't getting the whole truth out of Calvin. In an attempt to have Calvin reveal the truth, she begins to share gut-wrenching information about her findings at the apartment. Details that should get a reaction, unless of course he already knew those details before leaving the apartment that day.
We've been in your house, right? We've been in your house. Right, you know that. I mean, you got hit by a train. We got to do our due diligence here, right? No, and we can see that something is not right. Something's wrong, right? Was this something that was an accident?
Or an accident.
Calvin's injured.
Well,
that's what I'm asking you, Calvin. You're the only one home alone with her. Do you remember picking her up out of that swing? Calvin, look at me. Do you remember picking her up out of that swing? You laid her on the bed, probably changed her diaper, took her onesie off. She was crying.
On the day.
Calvin, she didn't make it to the swing, and you know that.
But the detective doesn't let up, knowing that she may have to push beyond Calvin's boundaries to get to the truth.
I think something happened to... And I don't think that you intentionally did it. Calvin, that is a lot to handle. Think about running up and down your hallways, yelling and screaming and getting everything out after you just put it away. All you want is that one hit of meth. That's all you want. Why can't they stop crying? Why can't they stop screaming? Why can't they just stop?
She pretty much
right?
just laid the ball on him. That's pretty much what it is. Fucking junkie.
I know you're thinking about it, and you're just replaying that in your head over and over and over again. That's a huge burden to carry. Calvin, that's a huge burden to carry. Are you sorry for what you did to... What's that? No, I'm not with DHS. Are you sorry for what you did to...
Calvin is no longer willing to talk to police, and he ends the interview. But in his interview with Iwu, he shared his version of what happened when his friends left that cold January day, and the moment he claims he made an unthinkable discovery.
And then I go to get my daughter up, and I noticed that she had rolled over face down into her pillow. And, and I picked her up, and I felt her body was limp, and I just kind of lost it. I absolutely lost it. I didn't know what to do, so I set her down on the floor, and I tried to give her CPR, and that really didn't work. That's really all I can remember that happened to that point. I don't remember exactly, because I had kind of just blacked out, so I don't remember exactly what I did. The next thing I remember doing from the time of trying CPR, I remember being at the train tracks, and I decided to make that video that I made.
Calvin's current version of the events of that day differs wildly from the one he told police. It also seems to conflict with the detailed calendar police found on the White's refrigerator, which indicated that Calvin's wife Melissa went back to work on January 2nd, almost a full month before the tragedy, in contrast to what Calvin had told them.
That was the first day my wife went back to work from maternity leave.
But perhaps most importantly, it's contradicted by the very video that Calvin mentions making in the moments before the tragedy. It's a video that police discover on his phone only a couple of days after the incident, and it provides them with the damning evidence they need to secure a warrant for his arrest.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm like a monster. I can't even control myself. I knew it was going to happen sooner or later.
Ew, get this thing out
I
of
had
my
plans
face.
to get myself out of the house first. I was just going to leave and go to Florida. Because I knew I was going to do something. I was going to go overboard one time. I'm the reason she's dead. I'm the reason why the kids were always sick. They weren't sick. I was just killing them slowly. I'm so sorry.
The video is damning, but in his interview with Iwu, Calvin insisted that much of what he said in that message was misunderstood, and his confession about the kids was only a reference to his substance abuse.
One day, my wife is going to find out, she's going to kick me out the house, I'm going to lose custody of my son. But all that's what I meant, but like I was making the kids sick.
Ugly as shit.
I just felt like I was being really neglectful of my children by doing that every morning. That's all I meant by that. I wasn't doing anything to make them sick. It's not like I was like poisoning my child or anything. I wouldn't even know how to do that.
But that wasn't all Calvin confessed to on that video, and not all of it will be so easily explained.
Oh, Melissa. I was cheating on you the whole time. I was doing drugs the whole time. The truth is, I couldn't stand living with you. I hated you. We were just sexy, so it was a little easier to put up with you. I didn't mean to kill. All I did was throw pillows on top of her face so you couldn't hear her scream. That's all. She must have suffocated. I'm sorry.
It's apparently nothing short of a full confession, and though Calvin's story about what happened to his baby is shocking enough on its own, it's not the only incriminating statement he makes in the video. He also mentions an incident involving his ex-girlfriend, Melissa B.'s son, a subject that came up briefly in the hospital interview as well.
Who hurt him or what happened, I guess? No charges were filed. Great, but who? I guess I just want to know what happened to the kid. He had a skull fracture.
What?
Though Calvin denied any responsibility for this injury when speaking to the detective, he told a much different story in the self-filmed video hours earlier.
The reason why Melissa lost her kids, because I gave her kid that skull fracture. The drugs changed me to this monster that even I couldn't control.
As for his confession about his ex-girlfriend's child, Calvin had this to say in his interview with Iwu.
When I made the video, I was thinking of a couple of things. I was thinking of the two girls that I still love, which is my wife and my ex. So I was thinking of ways to help them, you know? And
how can like a bitch find a nigga like this even attractive? I know they say beauty is only held in the eyes of the beholder, or whatever the fuck, how the fuck that saying go. But once you have this niggas doing meth and shit, you should have left that nigga on the fucking spot. Now your whole fucking child, your baby, who you'll never see grow up, is dead. I'm not trying to say it's your fault, shorty, but goddamn.
And I thought that
now a child is dead because of a fucking junkie.
Is that if I could help her with, her kids, because of that incident, her kids got taken away, and that's when the whole meth thing started. So I'm like, all right, if I admit it, that I did it, then they would go ahead and give her kids back, and maybe then if she gets her kids back, she'll get off drugs, That was the whole plan behind it, but I honestly, I didn't hurt that child.
On February 2nd, 4 days after the infant's death, police go back to Iowa Methodist Hospital to take Calvin, the self-described monster, into custody.
So if you would just go ahead and stand up, come right over here. Yeah, we'll get your coat for you, and go ahead and put your hands behind your back here. Calvin, I'm placing you under arrest for murder in the first degree and child endangerment causing death. This officer here, once we get these cuffs on you, he's going to read you your Miranda rights so that you know you don't have to talk to us at any time during this trip up there. We're going up to Story County Jail, okay?
When police later told Melissa White what they learned from her husband's confession video, she simply said no and began to cry.
Mom, you want to give him a hug?
Yes, hold on.
All right. Yeah.
Calvin White made a plea deal with Story County prosecutors, and the charge of first-degree murder was dropped. As part of the agreement, Calvin entered a plea of guilty to the
what?
charge of first-degree. Calvin White made a plea deal with Story County prosecutors, and the charge of first-degree murder was dropped. As part of the agreement, Calvin entered a plea of guilty to the charge of child endangerment resulting in death. In his interview with EWU, Calvin said that he didn't believe he could get a fair trial in the mostly white Iowa county. He also said that police and prosecutors
killed a fucking baby and use a fucking junkie. Your ass don't deserve sympathy from nobody. Shut your ass up.
Prosecutors misconstrued what he meant in the self-recorded video.
No, I know that the media and I know that the DA or the prosecutor or whatever had explained it to my wife as if I smothered my daughter with a pillow, and that was absolutely not what happened at all. And they came to that conclusion because in the video I had said that something along the lines that she had her face in the pillow or something along the lines like that. So they took it as I put the pillow on her face, when really I was trying to say is that I found her face down in the pillow, and I couldn't hear her cry.
Shut your
because she
dapping
couldn't lift
ass
her
up.
head up, so I couldn't hear her cry.
In July 2018, roughly 6 months after his daughter's death, Calvin was sentenced to 50 years in prison.
Yes.
This included a mandate requiring that Calvin
be
serve
dead,
at least
Will.
30% of the total sentence before becoming eligible for parole in 2033. Calvin Curtis White is currently serving his
Ew.
sentence at the Fort Dodge Correctional Facility in Iowa. Melissa B. and Brett were not charged with anything in connection to this incident.
Man. man. Child fucking tell you. This shit get serious, boy. This shit get real fucking serious, chat. God fucking damn. God fucking damn, fo. Man. Well, rest in peace to that child. And like I said, fuck you niggas.